Buddy, what are you doing? So, I just got through grinding a mixer load of feed, shoveled it in there by hand. I guess it's not quite a full mixer. It's kind of leaning on an angle. The other side window is full. So I quit, and I discovered that we do need to figure out where this thing is leaking, because it's through that blower. I see it now. Okay, it's gotten bad enough now. I see it's got a hole in the blower. So that's no problem. We can patch that up and probably stop a lot of this dust around here. So that's good, because that was on my to-do list. I also discovered that the old 880 don't charge the battery. So whilst I was grinding, it was happily draining the battery, and now it won't start. So I got it on the battery charger, and looking at it now, there's no wonder, because it don't have no wires hooked up to it. And unless somebody converted it to a one wire, it ain't gonna do nothing this way. And furthermore, I'm pretty sure when they convert it to a one wire, they don't have this open like this. So maybe all I need to do is put a plug in there somehow. And what I might have to do is take the alternator apart and clock it differently. Or maybe just buy a different alternator and clock it differently. Because you see, you can get them in different orientations with that plug. Like 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, whatever, blah, 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 9 o'clock. I don't know. So that is definitely on our to-do list. I guess what I would want is, in order for that to be, I'm just talking to myself here looking at it, because I never really considered this. A guy might be able to take the factory bracket off and turn this upside down like it's supposed to be. Or a guy might be able to just get him an alternator that was clocked about, what, 3 o'clock? I think would be what I want. Either 3 or 9 o'clock, I don't know. Whatever. We'll figure that out later. Today we just want to get this going. And then, yeah, I can unload this. But that is not my primary project today. I just did that so I could get my bin pretty well cleaned up. Let's go back to Freddy and see if we can't get him to charge his battery. So here we go. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Ross the Oliver Man. This is Freddy the Fiat, the Oliver 1450. And we were sorting out wiring and dash. And we got some original style gauges mounted in here with the idea that we're gonna get him where he charges the battery. So our next goal from here to here is we need to figure out if we can salvage some of the wires that are going here or not. I think that the blue wire, which we may have to pull the oil pressure line loose again so we can get enough room to work, but there is a light blue wire that comes out of the harness, and I believe that is the wire that would be like your charging back to the battery, and then your heavy maroon or brownish wire goes to the starter, and that's how that would go. So in order to do what I'm going to do, I would actually put that blue wire on this gauge, because I mounted a gauge in there with the idea to just fill that hole. But if I want to make that gauge work, then it needs to go, yeah, just like I said, my battery wire needs to go from over there where I will jumper it from the alternator, the blue wire into here, and then a wire from here over to the battery. Now, I could go one of two ways there. I could go to this switch like it is now, and it would make like a circuit through this switch. Or down in there is a heavy cable that goes to this preheater, and it also goes to the battery. So in theory, I could just run a wire from this gauge down there. They had actually done that too, but their gauge was melty, so I took that off. But I could actually do that, and I would accomplish the same thing. So I'm thinking though that the first order of affairs maybe would be that I want to work on the end here at the alternator and get that squared away, and then we can go on and work down the line so that we can get yeah, it just makes sense to me to go from one end to the other, and then we don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to get, actually, I think another end of wire, because I think what I'm going to end up doing is there is not quite enough here to go where we want to go, and I just hate it having multiple splices, you know. So I'm not going to take like this wire and splice in a piece and then splice in a piece. I'm going to put one splice and go all the way up here, and then I'll put one splice on here and go all the way here. It's not ideal. I should probably just run new wires, but I'm not going to do that. We can make this go, you know. It's not going to be that bad as long as I keep moisture out. But normally, no, I would recommend running new wire. But in this case, since we're trying to preserve as much as we can, we're going to go that route. But I can save one step by making my own to-do here, so that's what we're going to go with. All right, so I salvaged some wire off of our Fiat parts tractor, so we're going to use Fiat wire to fix this up. But we have a brown and a black, and those should be the ones that went to the generator, and that we can work with. We'll have to go where the regulator is under the hood and reconnect them differently, but that can happen. Our next affair then is going to be, we have to, let's see what else we got here so we don't lose it. We've got a couple green wires going forward, which are to headlights, you know. We got a gray, is that just a plain gray? And then, let's see, a gray. We got a yellow with black stripe and a plain yellow. So all of those are headlight wires. So we don't have to worry about that right now. We will have to worry about that later when we try to sort out. See, the original headlights had a high and a low beam, and I ain't got that anymore. All I have is on. So we'll have to see where we want to go. Green goes to the 56A position on the switch. So we'll just figure that out later on when we're messing with headlights. That is not our priority. We need our new key switch first to do that. But we can make it charge in the meantime if we just have our wits about us. So that's what we're going to do. All right, so I'm going to remove this white wire here, if I can. I hope. And we're going to put a better, we're going to make it more better, that's what I'm saying. There! So basically, we're just going to put one of those ends on our new piece of wire. Can I do this on camera where you can see? Possibly. See, we can make anything do anything if we just try hard enough. There. I think we got her now. Oh, yeah. Now our red wire is actually going to go back onto the alternator itself. That's usually the way I do it, because it's got to be hot all the time. And that is the battery wire. We will roll that down there We need to put another wire on here, so we're not going to get too excited yet. That's a placeholder for a second. Put the nut on. See, that will go to there. That'll be fine. Now we need another red wire. Alright. Put that there. And did we bring something to tighten? This will tighten. Okay. Now we also have to keep in mind that we're going to be behind the filter like this, and I don't want a ton of extra wire, but I want it to be easily accomplishable. So let's start with this one. Come on. Oh. Okay. Now kind of the same order of operations here. Let's go. That right there. Well, there is a nick in the insulation, so let's go to there. Let's go there. Let's go there. Now, let's wrap them together up in some stuff. Try to keep them. I don't know about this. Alright, we're going to tuck those back here where they can't hurt us anymore. Actually, first I'm going to tape up over this piece. Okay, that can't hurt us anymore. We'll worry about that later when we need headlights situations. So now, our next stop is under the hood. This is quite the trick because I gotta hold the hood up. Apparently I got the muffler mounted too low and my hood rod won't go. So we are going to have to, you know, do we want to do that? We're going to be using all these wires. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut these wires. It can just hang there. I would have to put different ends on them anyway. So that's why I'm saying it don't matter about. And that should have them freed up right there. If I can, possibly. Well, I thought I did. Oh, broke the insulation. Alright, that's what we need, this wad of wires. Now we got our two. Let's extricate here and see what we got. There's our brown, well, no, I can't say that for sure. It's dirty. This one's the brown one. That's coming from the alternator. This one is the one that's going to the switch. It's actually blue. See, sometimes you can't go by, I don't know if you can see that or not. I think you can. Don't be fooled. Wires fade. So, if you're working on something, like if I look at this wire here, I would say, oh, maybe that's gray or whatever, or something brownish colored. But then you go back under the insulation and it's the blue one. So that's important. But basically we're gonna just jumper these together. These two are gonna go to this, and these two are gonna go to this. And then we will be all right with the world on that deal, I believe, because that will send our signal wire to the dash with these two, and this one will send our battery up to the switch. I suppose that I could forget this blue wire and save myself a splice and go around the hood this other way to the gauge that we're going to put in, but I don't know if I want to do that. Like I said, I don't like to have a bunch of splices, but sometimes I don't know that it's avoidable in a situation like this where I'm trying to get where I'm going. But yeah, so I think that's what I'll do. I'll just go ahead and butt connector these together and be done with it, and then that is out of the way and we don't have to worry about it anymore. And then we can pick up our work under the dash and decide what we want to do. Change of plans real quick. Before I make my final decision, I want to pull that blue wire off the switch, and I want to see if it's long enough to go over to the gauge. But the first thing I'm going to have to do, so that I don't end up ruining something, is taking this oil line loose again. Because I don't want to break it too. On top of this, it has a funny thread too, and I managed to heat up the adapter and get it off the back of that other gauge. I don't know if this is something that I could find at the auto parts store, or sometimes when you buy the copper line kit, they come with all kinds of fittings. Maybe this is one of the ones I never ever used. I don't know. But I'd rather not go down that road if I don't have to. Because right now it don't leak. Alright, see, now I can fold this back and work on it. So I need to take this wire loose to go through the gauge. All it needs to do is make a loop through the gauge and come right back to here, or to the battery, I should say, because of the way that it is. See, right now they got it very rickety put together. I don't know about that. I need this wire. Will this wire make it all the way over? We might as well assume the farthest position of our gauge. That's pretty darn close. I don't know. I think it will. However, I don't like our end that's on it, and I'm going to have to cut that loose. And if I do that, I don't know. I can't wait till our key switch gets here, because this is garbage. Let's take a look at this condition. So if I saw this off, can I get it over there? It's going to be under a lot of tension, but I can. I think. Well, maybe not. Maybe I don't want to do it that way. I hate having a bunch of jumpers. It's gonna be under a lot of tension when it's down, believe it or not, because the dash will be all the way over there. What to do? Well, I'm thinking is what I'm doing. I could eliminate that very simply by running a different hot wire around. Then I would only have one splice in it instead of two splices. Nobody would know what I did. It's just, what's a guy want to do that doesn't make a bunch of rickety mess, you know? Jeez. Decisions. I just can't decide. I wish I could make that reach, but I don't think there's any more to be had. I mean, that's gonna really pull on it. I don't like that. What to do? I also realized before we're done, we need to paint the steering shaft and throttle. So this might be a tabled project until that happens. I like the idea of not having a wire around the opposite way. I don't know. So I could fold the dash out of the way, what I'm saying. So maybe I'll break my rule and make another jumper. Go from that blue to the gauge, and then I got to make one to go from the gauge over to the battery, wherever I decide to do that at. All right, I'll make some decisions and then we'll bring you back when I figure it out. All right, I got everything hooked up and we're gonna see what happens. Either it's gonna work or it's gonna melt. It's their choices. So if we turn the battery on, I think my switch is in the position. There we've got our light on, that's good. Freddie, will you start? Maybe not. We're gonna have to charge the battery, I guess, or if I turn that off, it comes off. That's good. Okay. That should disable this. All right. I guess I will put him on the charger right quick, and then we'll try to start him in a second. Okay. It's gonna work. I had Freddie running. I had to give him a kiss of the old fart pounder. But we should be able to start him right back up. If I turn the ignition on, my light comes on. If I give him some throttle, push the button, light goes out, gauge goes to charging. Everything looks good. Nothing looks like it's liquid. So now he charges the battery. Boy, that's annoying. Wonder if I can tighten that up a little. So that's super duper awesome. This oil pressure gauge is kind of all over, but he idles at about 35, so that ain't bad. All right, good deal, Freddie. one more project off of our list on him. Next, I guess we'll tackle getting all the lights working, but we gotta wait till we get the key switch. And then also that temperature gauge, we gotta figure out how to wire it up where it's gonna go. So we'll jumper wire it power from there to the gauge, and then from that we'll have to run us around to our sending unit. And yeah, that's how he will get his signal. Then the ground is the sending unit. So yeah, that's where we are. Yeah, he's got a lot of charging to do. Also, we need to finish working on our grill so we can get it mounted up for keeps. Because right now, there's no way I would drive him around with that, or we'll lose it and run it over. I also need to get up to my buddy up north a little bit and get the top insert that he has. Then that'll be complete. Rico, you've come a long way, my friend. Still more to do, but we've come a long way. How low will you idle? Not there. Alright, and then the light should come on. It does. Sweet. As always, if you enjoy my videos, give them a thumbs up. Leave a comment and tell me how dumb you think I am. Or, if by some slim chance you liked it, say that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.